Here we have the Reliq, and it's a bit of a beast of a thing with a 16x16 grid, this high resolution screen, and the breakout box over here for audio or CV routing. And it calls itself a hybrid control surface, and that's because it's essentially 4 or more different machines in one. Firstly, it's got the 16 in and 16 out analog patch matrix, and that can handle audio or CV via the breakout box. Then we've got a mixer that mixes those signals. Then we've got the fully fledged sequencer, and I'll go into this in some detail in a bit, but there's different clips I'm using, got different key modes, chords or melodies, or, you know, chromatic, major, minor, all sorts of different things you can see happening there. And each of those tracks has got an LFO, it's got an envelope, plus loads of other things I'll show you in a second. And then we've got this DAW integration as well. So this is integrated with Ableton. It's got two-way integration with Ableton and with Bitwig. Then we've got this song mode, have that active or not active. So you set different blocks, take snapshots of each of the blocks, and each of the blocks has got different clips that it's playing. So that's playing that, and this one's playing the next slot. This one's playing this slot. And all that means you can do really clever things that you can't do with other bits of kit. For example, on each of those blocks in those songs, you could have a completely different setup of the patch cables. Like I was showing in here, we've got different setups that you can hear doing different things. And in fact, if I just play something from one of these songs, let's see what happens. And that's doing things like changing which oscillator is going through which filter and which output of the filter it's listening to, whether it's the bandpass or the low pass. Over here, we've got a bandpass and a low pass output on the Synths multi-mode VCF. We've got the 4Cs and we've got the black Wavetable VCO. And they're both feeding into this filter in different ways, in different blocks. And that's where that drone's coming from. But yeah, it just means you can do really interesting things. This could all be just effects units, and on every track you've got a different setup of effects or different routines for effects, things that you just can't do on anything else. So in this video, I thought I would talk you through what I've done and how I've been using it, rather than go through absolutely every function on it, because it keeps on getting updates. So the video will be quickly out of date if I was trying to show you absolutely everything that I was doing. There was a version 1.8 came out just last week or the week before, and Reliq's own demo of that is over 10 minutes long, just of the new bits. So it's a bit like trying to do a review or a demo of everything that's in Logic or Ableton in one go. So I'll show you how I've used it, and then hopefully you'll understand what it is and how you could potentially use it. And I'll start off with running through what we've physically got here. We've got this nice big screen. It's 400 nits, so it's readable in daylight. It's not something for the corner of a dark gig or a dark studio. It's perfectly viewable in broad daylight. We've got 16 clickable encoders on the top. If I click this, I've selected the PolyVCF. Let's make a link to out 6. There's nothing on out 6 at the minute. Let's take that off again. And these buttons do different things depending on what page you're on, but at the minute we're selecting between the different modes. I've got this joystick on the right, which we use for navigating through different screens in different ways. On the left-hand side, we've got a BPM controller. You can see it controlling the BPM there. And when it's playing, this flashes. Down the left-hand side, we've got the track selectors. If we go into the sequence, for example, we're selecting the different tracks by selecting these. Got different function keys over on the right-hand side. Top one's the effects. If I think I've got some MIDI effects on one of these, there you go on. Was it on 13? So if I wanted to go into this, for example, I would hit there, change the effect, turn it on or off. Next button down is select. If I just come out of effects for a minute, go into clips, for example, and select a load of clips. They're all selected at the minute, and you can see what's been selected. Let's deselect them. And let's deselect them. So you can see what's being selected as you select everything, which means you can adjust parameters for lots of things at the same time. Next one down is mute. You can see we've got some blue tracks there. If I hit the track and then unmute it, hit this track or mute it, or we could hold mute and select a number of tracks. Now they're all muted. And that means during performance, you can unmute a lot of things at the same time. Then we've got solo, which mutes everything else. We've got an undo, we've got a redo, we've got copy and paste, and these are really simple to use. Copy this, and we'll paste it there. Copy that, and we'll paste it over here somewhere. Doesn't really matter. Paste there. So I can undo that. Undo that. And then down on the bottom right, we've got transport, start, stop, and record. On the back, we've got 3 USB ports, one for the module, one that acts as a host, and one for USB MIDI, and that's what's connected up to sync with your DAW. We've got a MIDI in, and we've got 3 MIDI outs, and they're all on TRS connectors. Hopefully then you'll understand how I'm navigating this while I go through the main sections first. We'll start off by taking a look at the matrix. We've already seen a little bit of this, but I'll show you in a little bit more detail here. So each of these is an audio or a CV input, and they're all patched in via the box here. These are the inputs on the top, these are the outputs there. So these two here, these two blue cables represent these 2 inputs here, and we can change the color of these. The colors don't actually mean anything, but if you change the color of it, you can only send it to something of that color, except if it's white, in which case you can send it or receive anything. So I've set these to red, not for any particular reason, to be honest, but just because it sort of looked nice. I could have just left them all white, but it does mean that you can be on the safe side and not be sending CVs to audio or audio to CVs. And we can select these using the joystick. If we come over here, let's just select another one for a minute. And this has got these all linked into a group. If I come to that group, I can make the group bigger or smaller. I can add more to the group. And if they act as a group, when I link them to here, they'll all link together. And I'll show in a second, but when they're linked, they work together in the mixer. I'll briefly describe how this is all set up then. I've got DF main, so drum farm main and drum farm auxiliary. That's these 2 here, drum farm main and drum farm auxiliary, going into 1 and 2 up here. The drum farm main is going to the duck L and the duck R of the ohm force, and they're the inputs to the ducking effect. Anything that goes into there when the kick's playing drops. That's what this is all about up here. But instantly you can see this is 1 output and that's 2 inputs. So straight away, this little patch bay is doing something that I couldn't do with the units alone. Then we've got the drum farm auxiliary, and that's going to 2, and that's going direct to, well, this mix L isn't doing anything at the minute actually, but this is going direct to the outputs. So it's going direct to these 2 outputs here, and they're going into my interface. So drum farm 1 is going to there, drum farm 2 is going over there, but I could, if I want, put drum farm auxiliary into the duck as well, take it out of there, or I could stick it into the delay in, take it out of there, or the delay in and the out, or the reverb. You get the idea. So you can do this mid-track, obviously. And down here, we can make the connections as well. So one of that connection there, so that's 2 going to, so this 2 here is going to FS1 and FS2. They were the 4Cs 1 and 2 inputs, but I couldn't work out how to do it in the mixer because the mixer's got left and right, left and right, left and right. And I wanted 2 on the left and 2 on the right. But on the mixer itself, if you put it just in the left, it's mono, so it'll come out of both. So it didn't really work as a stereo effect. Just telling you why they're labeled FS1 and FS2. But let's disconnect them anyway because they're not doing anything. Then down here, you've seen me playing with this. We've got 16 different setups on this page, but we've also got another 4 pages or another 3 pages of that. So we can have 64 different matrix setups in the one song. Next up then, we've got the mixer. And the mixer, actually, if you look at these little lines inside each of those, they're the levels that the signal's being sent out. So if I come to the mix page, for example, DF main will be on 100% and DF aux will be on just less. So go to the mix page and there you go. So we can change these using that. Or these are red, which means they're going to be controlled by the encoders. So you can do a precise number there rather than just block by block. And if you want to control these with the knobs, you just flick down there. And if the group, the level works together, so on the outputs, So again, that's pretty simple, but it's linked to the matrix. So if you wanted the same routines, but with different levels, you just change it to a different matrix and then put the different levels on that matrix. And as you go through your tracks or whatever, you just select the different matrix, same connections, but different levels. And I do use it in this little demo. I redirected the bass from the Osiris that was just coming through the main outputs, through the delay and the reverb. That increased the volume, so I needed to drop the volume that was coming out of the Osiris. Actually, it was coming out of the PolyVCF, which is here. So on some of these, the PolyVCF will be a different level. There you go. And there's the difference there. So to the delay and not to the delay. Next up then is the big one. It's the sequencer. I probably won't go through absolutely everything it does in here because it is so comprehensive, but I'll try and give a really good overview. This is the main sequencer page, and these are showing you the triggers for each of the tracks. So on the kick, for example, if we just mute everything else, you can see him playing a 2-bar loop there. But yeah, this is the main overview for the whole thing. And this is where we set up the track itself. So this one's named Kick Hats. I've not named this one. Let's name it just to show you how that works. So we'll hit track 3. This is the clap. So delete that. Oops, delete that, save. So actually it's really quite simple to label anything on this, and I would strongly suggest that you do, because it can get quite complicated if you haven't labeled things properly. We can see they're all in different colors there. This is in green. If I go to the clip that I'm playing itself, so this is the clip over here, we can change the color of that. Right, go to the next page, and I change the clip color. Let's change it to pink. It's gone to pink. So we're changing the color over there, but if I come back to the actual main page again, that's gone pink. But if we go to the clip, it's white, because anything that's white is the one that's selected. Let's set up a track. If we come to 15, there's nothing on there. So we can decide what the output's going to be, whether it's going to be USB, MIDI 1, 2, or 3, or CV. We'll have it as MIDI 1 for now. Instruments, we get a selection of different manufacturers, a massive selection of different manufacturers. But we'll go to what it actually is that I've got here, the dread box. So whole selection, select, where's it gone? It's in alphabetical order. It's not that hard to find. Change the MIDI channel, all those sort of things. Set the scale. I'll just leave it in chromatic for now. And then we can select type of track it is, whether it's a free track, a melody track, a chord track, a drum track. If we go to a melody track, and the reason we select the actual instrument is because we've got MIDI automation in this, so it'll automatically know what CC is going where. So if we take a look at what's programmed in, there's just really a couple of notes in there, really just for demonstration purposes. But we've got velocity, duration, probability, trigger. We don't have to trigger on every bar. We can trigger it on a selection of different options there. We've got ratchets on there as well, so we could ratchet them. We've got the probability of the ratchets themselves. If you see little dots, press it twice to get ratchet in the re-trigger mode. So over here we've got the offset. This is the offset for an accumulator. The accumulator triggers and the offset for the accumulator, the minimum for the accumulator, the maximum for the accumulator, the different modes. But I was going to show you the automation. So if I come out of this, click on automation, press shift, we've got lots of different automation lanes, but we can select which parameter is being automated. And you can have up to 8 lanes of automation. So on lane 1 at the minute, so you could select the parameter, shift, select parameter. I'll leave it for now because I don't want to actually send something to the Artemis to mess things up. But this is how you set up your lanes or set up your automation. Shift, interpolate. So linear. So let's go to lane 2. Let's do something like this. Put one there, and one there. And let's interpolate that. You get the idea. Lane 3, no interpolation. Lane 4. And these could be all different parameters. So yeah, it's really quite comprehensive, isn't it? I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place, but that's because there's such a lot to show. If we come back into this, which is the main page for the sequencer, this is where we set up the length of the bar. So we've got 32 step to sheet. Think of that as 16 steps, but each of those steps is split into two. So it's like, instead of 16ths, it's 32. So one straight 4/4 bar will be 32. Slightly confusing. Oh, it slightly confused me at first. But there's the number of sheets is basically the number of bars. So you can keep on whacking that up. I think you can have 1,024 sheets in total per track. So that's now 2 bars long. If we look over here, we're looking at sheet 1 of 2. Now we're looking at sheet 2 of 2. So that's how you move between the different sheets. So if we put that to 4 sheets, 1, 2, 3, 4. Change the velocities of each of those. So there's the different notes. There's the velocities, the duration. So let's make it a bit longer, shorter. Again, probability trigger micro timing as well. There you go. Come back to the main page. We've got swing, got rotation, so you can move the whole thing. Direction, forwards and backwards random, and speed, so you can have different tracks playing at different rates, which actually I use in this demo just to show who it does it really. We come to the main sequence page. You can see this one here. That's the clap. That's just going at, as we click there, that's at quarter speed. It's normal speed. Anything else going at a different rate? No, just that one. I know I'm rushing through this a little bit quickly, but hopefully you can understand how it all works. Another thing I wanted to show you is the different types of tracks, like you're now taking a melody, chord or drum. Put it on chord. This is really, really nice. So let's go to the keys mode. So we've got different chords we can play. But this is unlike any chord mode I've ever seen. We've selected the chord type here. But we can select different types for each of the notes. So this one here is playing a major 13th, and this is a major 7th, and that's a major, just a major. So those 3 notes are playing 3 different chords. So you select the chord type down here, if we play something up there. Let's just take the distortion off this, make it a bit more smooth to listen to. Yeah, so you've got your chord type and then you add in different notes to that chord type. So that's an A major. Now you add in the augmentation or the addition or the extension, the 9th, the 11th, the 13th, dominant 7th, major 7th. So you play a minor, say minor 13, A minor 11, A minor 9th. So you pick your chord, you pick your extension to the chord, and then you've got different inversions, got different rotations. You can turn the notes on or off. You can drop them an octave. Then you've got different spreads. And as I say, you can do that on every single note. So every note could have a different inversion, a different chord, a different spread. And down here, we've got strumming mode. Let's put something else on. Let's put a plucky pad. Let's get rid of the relief just so we can hear it. So here's the chord, what we can put. That's a downward strum fast. We've got fast, quick, medium, slow, or upward. Then added 6th and suspendeds, stuff like that. And I really like this because you can just do your sort of Chicago, Detroity thing where you're playing the same chord over and over, or you can actually play different chords on different notes, which is really, really quite cool. If we have it just in melody mode, or let's put it into chromatic. So, and this is the velocity. Don't think it's working on that tone. But quantization, amount of quantization, overdub or not. Got a metronome, got which octave we're playing, and they're the scales which you've just seen me playing with. So loads and loads of things to play with in that. I've skipped over clip mode a little bit. There's a couple of things that are worth pointing out in this. White are the ones that are playing at the minute. Let's go into the song and let's go to somewhere over there where there's a bit more playing. Let's come back into the clips. So you can see which are playing here. And these clips on this page are the notes that it's playing, and I'll explain why that's important in a second. But what I wanted to show here is that, come back to this main page, if we hold this down, we've got different follow-up modes, and this means what it's going to do after it's finished playing. So we can play the previous, the next, or you can jump to another one. I've got nothing on there to jump to. Let's put it onto this one here. So follow up, nothing. So we could jump to another. So it can jump to a specific clip, it can go to the previous one, it can go to the next one, but it is quite a cool tool. And I've been using it on the LFOs, and that's why it's important to notice that the clips are just the notes. Because if we go to the LFOs, for example, these LFOs aren't linked to the clips. So the LFOs and the envelopes in this, we still have lots of pages of LFOs and envelopes. So shifting across page up to page 8. So that's 8 times 16, that's 128 different LFOs or envelopes that you can have per track. So if we come to the LFOs, on track 5, which is the Artemis, I have an LFO, well, 2 LFOs, one playing at a quarter and one playing at an 8, so sync to the beat. And if we hold this one jumps to slot 2, there's slot 2. When this one's finished, so slot 2's finished, it jumps to slot 1. So it alternates between playing an 8th and a quarter, and if we listen to it, it's playing the cutoff on the Artemis. And we can change the amplitude of them, we can change the offset of it, we can change the wave on it. So we've got 100 different waves, including sort of noise. And that's changing because it's jumping, so let's create a new one. Let's come into here. Let's send it to, so you've got to send the destination to. Again, this is because we have the SCC parameter. Let's put it onto the LFO. There's an awful lot in here. Where is it? LPF track. No, it's further down. There we go. So this is free at the minute. Let's sync it. Change the phase. Change the offset. And this is all really super handy because that offset is like you've got a VCA and you're adjusting the level of the whole thing going into what you're controlling. So I've been using that with the CVs, specifically in this to adjust the feedback amount to the eventide delay. And I do that on track 11. So this is just sweeping up at the end, but on other ones, it alternates the feedback level every 3 bars. And that's been sent to CVA. Track 11. So track 11, CVA is this red cable here, and there it goes into there. And that just gives me some nice variation in the track. That's playing on these tracks here. Here's the LFO. Change the amplitude of that. Change the rate. Or even change the shape of it. Which one has it got? One over here. Make it a bit larger. Actually, I think we've got a slightly larger on there. Gives a nice groove. Let's put the others in just to see. We've also got the envelope page. I've got these on 7 and 8, and on 7, let's look at the mixing for the multi-mode low pass. So that's this here. So that's that output there, coming out of there, and that's in the matrix on number 7, is it? Multi-mode low pass. So that's adjusting the level of that there. But essentially it's turning this link on and off. And number 8, or track 8, is doing something with the wavetable volume envelope as well. And all that means you can actually reduce the amount of stuff you've got in your rack. So when I was building this, I had a couple of envelopes that I've now got rid of. I had a VCA that I've got rid of, and I almost got rid of this mixer here because this does all the mixing for you, but I used it to mix or blend the outputs from the 4Cs. I could have just plugged them in there. And actually thinking about it now, that's exactly what I should have done, because I could have sent 1 and 2 into the left and 3 and 4 into the right, and then just change the levels of it in the mixer here. There always seems to be a better way of doing something when you look back. Anyway, the next thing along here is the door control. So if I just come and play a bit of that song, for example, so go back into the song, I'll show you the song mode in a minute. If I play this, I'll take it out of song mode, or it is out of song mode. When it's on song mode, it will just play through all the different blocks, different bar lengths. I'll show this in a second. Take it off that and I'll just carry on playing this. So if I go into door mode, I can now play this. Let's just take the drums off first. So go to the sequencer and I will mute all this. So no drums, go to door mode. Shall we play a kick from the door? Hats. Let's play these hats. These are a bit lighter. Bring in some percussion. A little bit of a shaker. Reduce the volumes of them. Solo the hats. Let's just play this row. And we can also change the speed of the whole thing, change all the speed of all that using this. So really, really cool. And that's a really unique aspect to this. It's essentially got like an Ableton push and an Oxy and a digital matrix all in one, which is, you know, it's quite something, isn't it? Okay, finally, or almost finally, let's take a look at song mode. We have the blocks. Each of those blocks you can set the amount of bars to. You can set the BPM, so you can have separate BPMs for each of them. So let's come to block 10. Doesn't exist at the minute, but you can see them changing the bars. Change the BPM on 21, and it will change the BPM as you go through it. Song mode is off at the minute, which is why everything is dull there. Let's put song mode back on. So it's active. If we want to create a new block, we just hit that block. You set up what you want with your clips, and then you take a snapshot. But what I'll do is I'll copy something from over here. So if I take this, remember how we copy stuff? We copy that and we'll paste it there. So this should now be the same as that. And it is. So let's copy that and we'll paste it there. So these two are the same. But on the first one, let's get rid of the drums. So we go to the clips. I've got nothing over here on the drums, on the kick. So let's take all the drums off that one. So that's now a snapshot. So song mode, take a snapshot of that. So that's now built in. It's going to play for 16 bars. Let's make it play for less, shall we? Let's make it just play for 4. Let's change the rate of that LFO, so just change something else in there between block 1 and block 2. So block 1, we've got, let's go to the LFO on track 5. Let's have that one. Let's go into the song. Let's just take a snapshot of that. And then block 2, let's just check the LFO on that. Don't want that one, we want this one, I think. I forgot which one we picked a second ago, so take snapshot. So they should be different. So let's have a listen. So song mode is actually really simple. There's a couple of little caveats in there though. When you're playing from one to the other, so take out a song mode for example, it will jump immediately at the minute. So you do have to push it in time if you're going to change live. Because it will go out of time if you don't hit it in time. And the other thing these clips don't remember is the mute function. So I was hoping to be able to jump from one to the other and have different mutes on them. You can't do that. It doesn't remember the mutes. So you just have to have an empty slot. So don't have the kick in there at all if you don't want it. Take that clip out like you saw me do a minute ago, rather than try and mute it and then unmute it. Well, you can't mute it and unmute it. They are thinking about stuff like that as well. The only other thing I'd say about the complexity of this is that because you do have the different LFOs and the different envelopes for the different clips, so you don't have to, or the clip isn't linked to the LFO or the envelope. I've got myself a little bit confused at times trying to work out why something's happening until it really sunk in that the LFOs and the envelopes are different. They're not linked to the clips. So in here, for example, if I'm selecting 5 there, so select that clip, the LFO isn't going to be that one. It can be anyone you want it to be. So if we go to this clip here, it's not going to be that LFO. That LFO is over there. So you just got to have your wits about you when you start doing this. Maybe now I've told you it'll be really simple because it makes sense to me now. But I did spend a lot of time trying to figure out why it didn't sound the way I wanted it to sound, and that's why. So the more flexibility you have with anything, the more complex it can be to wrap your head around. But overall, I've got to say, it's a really nice thing. It's took me a while to do this demo because there's so many bits in here, and then the 1.8 release came out with extra bits on it. So, I mean, I'm not going to, as I said at the start, explicit detail about absolutely everything in here because there is so much. But hopefully I've given you a really good understanding of how it all works. I've not mentioned the settings yet, so you've got a different settings page here, MIDI setups, the module setup, the device information itself. So there's lots of different things you can set up. MIDI, for example, you've got the MIDI PPQ resolution on the module. You've got the clock out resolution. So it is a really well thought out bit of kit. There's an awful lot you can do with something like this because it's just so all-encompassing. And they did tell me they've got a really long list of things they want to do, that people have come up with different use cases for it. Like I wanted to, be able to have the mutes on those clips and have the clips starting on the bar, stuff like that. I've given a couple of suggestions. A lot of other people I know have given a couple of other suggestions because of the way they work and the way they would like to use it. But actually, once you start using it as it is, as it's been designed so far, like with the song mode and playing with the DAW, bringing things in and out with the mutes, I found it really nice and really good fun. Now, you might have seen the demo I'm about to play now because I did release it last week just as a short clip in case anybody just wanted to know what it was. So play that again, and hopefully now all the words that come up, all that little bits of text will make much more sense to you. So I'll play that now. I won't come back at the very end. Thanks for staying this far into this at least. If you did enjoy it, please do subscribe, ring the bell, join me over on Patreon, all that sort of stuff. Check out my starskycarr.com website as well. Patches, samples, things to buy, free bits and bobs. As I always say, it's nice if you do even just pick up some of the cheap bits because it does really all help to support the channel. Anyway, enjoy this next bit of music. I hope you now understand what's happening in it, and I will see you next time.